welcome back in. Thank you so much for joining us in the Sporting Lounge. Today we're going to be talking week 3, but as always, we have me, myself, and I, the 3-time champ. We have T. Rizzle. We have Austin.
No one cares about
Derpamation. Don't forget to hop over to Derpamation's Twitch. That's where we actually stream these live. So if you want to see bloopers or if you want to see other things or even get your questions answered, hop on over there. As always, you can always hop into the Sporting Lounge Facebook group. We also have the Messenger that you can hop into, the Discord, the Sporting Lounge. We put up TikToks, the Sporting Lounge. So make sure you go follow all of them, and let's get into it. It's week 3.
Yay.
Yeah. Now, for week 3, we're going to do a lot of the games. Most importantly, a lot of people are injured. Like, you're not starting Nick Chubb this week. I hope not.
I don't think Nick Chubb started.
I don't think we start him for the rest of the year.
Yeah. Well, real quick, let's do Thursday night recap, right? Then we can talk a little about Brock Purdy, transition to that, since I know Shane's been dying to talk about Brock Purdy.
And you know what?
So
we
Shane,
give some love. No. We're giving some love to Daniel Jones because y'all are just going to shit on him for the next 10 minutes.
All right.
I don't think so. That's not the direction I'm going with the game overall.
Because he had 64.
So what do you want to say?
In interest of Brock Purdy or Niners-Giants?
We can do both because we're going to flip-flop between the two. So,
okay. I'll start with
Purdy. Brock Purdy.
Let's start with Purdy. I want to hear. So here's my situation with Brock Purdy. You know, that NFL scriptwriter commercial is starting to become a little too accurate. You know what I'm saying, man? Mr. Relevant, we should be calling him at this point. 310 yards, 2 TDs, putting on a dominant performance all season. I mean, Brock Purdy is looking like a stud. Like, the big thing about Brock Purdy, too, like, the Steelers' defense kind of, like, looked like shit that first game. And the big question coming after that week, in my head, as a Steelers fan, is, did the defense look bad because they were bad, or was it just the San Francisco 49ers were that good? And then they go against Cleveland, and they take care of business, score 2 touchdowns, you know, like, put on a dominant performance. So at this point, I believe that Brock Purdy just picked apart one of the most elite defenses in the NFL, because I think in a few weeks we're going to be like, oh yeah, the Steelers defense is that. You know, the Steelers defense is the only defense that's as good as the 49ers defense, but they're not as good because they lost week 1 so badly.
I agree.
That's going to be the conversation.
I actually had that conversation with you because I remember you were hot about the Steelers after that first loss, and I told you, I think that's more of a measurement of how good the 49ers actually are.
Yeah, and I was like, I think you're right. I was agreeing.
I think they're the favorites. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's still very early, a lot of football to be played. But you got to say the 49ers are the favorites to win the Super Bowl right now.
Yeah, they're like they beat
probably them and the Eagles.
I think we could say, you know, their offense beat a good Steelers defense, just dominated them. They played against a good Rams team that we're finding out is a pretty interesting team after all.
Yep.
They beat a good Giants team. Unfortunately, Barkley is no longer with us. Well, man, silence for those fantasy owners.
Oh, I traded for him after he got hurt. I hurt.
Yeah.
He's coming back this season.
Like, that Giants defense is a really good defense, too. And, like,
especially their secondary played really well, too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, the Giants defense wasn't looking bad. It was just, like, dare I say, Brady-esque on how he was just slowly manipulating and picking apart this team, but just, like, with better weapons. Like, if Brady would have had this throughout his whole career, every game would have been a 300-yard passing game, which, like, this past game was. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
the only difference being is Purdy could beat the Giants.
That's true. Purdy can beat the Giants.
I mean, so far in 8 career NFL starts, Purdy's averaging 263.75 yards per game. Undefeated. 17 touchdowns, 4 interceptions for his career. He's 67% completion percentage. A lot of people were always talking about every quarterback succeeds in that system, and it's just a system QB. You don't get me wrong, most quarterbacks have done well and the team's done well, but like the offense has reached a different level with Purdy. And I don't think all of it because of CMC being there also.
I've always hated that argument of, oh, they're just a system QB. But I mean, every quarterback, every player is kind of a system player, right? Because if they're not in the right system, they're not always going to produce at a high level. They got to be in the right system.
Well, like
right
a player like that in recent years is like, a Ben Roethlisberger or Philip Rivers, someone that like had a long career with one team that like cycled through offensive coordinators. Like there were times when Philip Rivers was the best fantasy quarterback in football because they were airing it out 40, 50 times a game. And then like a couple years later, same thing happened with Ben Roethlisberger. And then Philip Rivers wasn't as great because they wanted to rely on the run a little bit more. But then the Steelers transitioned and because they had Antonio Brown and it seemed like they just were this wide receiver company that just was pumping out wide receivers. So like when that happened, like you had that like shift. But like, in fantasy wise, like it's always good to have Tom Brady. Like, and if we have a player that's playing Tom Brady-esque, I hate to say it so early in his career. I'm not saying he's going to put up the same accolades. I'm not going to say he's going to be the same type of player. Yeah. I'm just saying, in the sense of fantasy, these are like Tom Brady stats every week. Low interception rate, so you're not losing points on him very often. He gets sacked a couple times a game, but he always has 250 plus yards usually. He has a good completion rate, a couple touchdowns a game, and that makes it so he's like ranked top 5 every year in fantasy quarterback ratings.
He's a very smart quarterback and is quick on where to go with the football at the right times.
I think he's very quickly establishing one of the safest floors for QBs in the league. Just because of what Shane said. No turnovers, 250 and 2 touchdowns every single game. It might not be getting you 45 points every week, but you don't need to if you're walking around 22 to 25 every week without problem. That adds up that year.
And here's the scary thing, man. Like, I want to circle back to the first thing I said in this whole conversation. Look at the teams he played. These aren't bad teams, especially on defense. The worst team was the Rams, and I would say that they're like a 6 out of 10. And that's pretty good. 5's a true average. Then you got the Giants, which are like an 8 out of 10, and the Steelers. Like, after last week's performance, if in the sake of this argument, we'll say that the first game was a null. Steelers still came out of that game at 0, and if we're basing it off 1 week, how dominant they were against the Browns, that was an elite defense. And I'm saying this in Brock Purdy's favor. Like a 10 out of 10 type defense. And if he picks apart those 3 defenses like he just did, well, mother of God, what happens when he goes against the Cardinals?
or better yet, the Cowboys. But the Cowboys are going to be a little bit easier with Trayvon Diggs being out for the year now.
Yeah, bro. Like, check this out. Like, going against the Cards next week. Mother of Lord Almighty, please help God in Arizona, because this is going to be ugly.
Oh, it is. I think, don't get me wrong, even though Arizona still is 0-2, I think they've performed slightly better than I expected.
Yeah.
I would say so.
And, then they get the Cowboys without Trayvon Diggs, which he got injured today, something that we'll probably start going a little bit more later.
The Cowboys, I hate the Cowboys, but the Cowboys look so good. I still think even without Trayvon Diggs, they're going to win by 30 plus.
See, I think that the Cowboys will be a good prove-it game for Purdy, but I think he'll take care of business. I do. Even if the San Francisco 49ers end up losing that game and he has a good game, like the statement holds true. I don't think he'll lose them the game.
That being said, I meant this week, Dallas beating Arizona, not Dallas beating San Fran by 30. That's not what.
Oh yeah. I'm cool with that.
I saw Ben's face, and that's what he thought.
Multi touchdowns to CeeDee Lamb, so I'm cool with it.
No.
Yeah, like
I wouldn't be surprised if Deuce Vaughn gets a
Vikings,
lot of touches.
Bengals, Jaguars is a tough unit. Bengals could be a tough unit at that point, but it seems like they're a little bit cold. Bucks, like they have a pretty good defensive unit, but like we're talking about that 6-7 out of 10 range on those defenses. Eagles, that's going to be a challenge. Seahawks, like I think that they're around that 8 range. Cardinals again, which that's going to be ugly. Ravens, Commanders, Rams. Like if he can, like fantasy wise, where do you see him throwing more than 5 interceptions?
One
real quick though, I do kind of want to circle back to you, Shane, real quick. Just because I'm kind of popped me off when you're talking about 1 through 10 for defense, it's like, how do you go about rating those teams on like the 1 through 10 scale that you have that you've been saying?
So like, it's more of like my eye test on how like I've been watching the film and seeing how they've been playing. So like, like the Eagles defense has been looking really good. It's just like also they're on the field a lot because the Eagles have been so like just consistently like plowing the ball down the field or like ending drives and shit. Like it's just so aggressive. And that Eagles unit is good. Like especially if they can start getting a little bit more tempo on offense. Like that's the biggest complaint I have with the Eagles offense right now is I want to see a little bit more tempo because they can just completely shut games out. Like I'm talking like 38-minute TOPs. Like some crazy shit. And if your defense is on the field for 22 minutes and that is that talented of a unit, I do not give a fuck. You are going to be shutting teams out, dude. It's going to get ugly.
Okay. I was kind of curious how you go about ranking them. I was just curious about your little system there.
Yeah, so like, and also like stats do play a role in it. Like the Steelers defense puts up 14 points in week 2. Like if I'm analyzing week 2 versus week 1 Steelers defense, I could say, well, shit, the Steelers defense was on the field for a significant amount of time, whatever. But like I'm more analyzing the week 2 because I'm specifically comparing Brock Purdy off of like a null point because he's the one that beat them. So like that's why I'm basing it off that. So that if the Steelers defense was based off that Browns game alone, do you disagree? It's a 10 out of 10 defense. They scored 14 points, had like 3 or 4 sacks, 7 tackles for a loss, 9 QB hits, an interception.
I don't disagree.
I think you should say like they might have had 7 tackles for a loss, but you might want to round it up to 8 because Nick Chubb lost an 8.
Awesome.
Oh my god, that was one of the most gruesome injuries I have ever seen.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
It's top 10.
Brings me back to the Alex Smith injury.
Yeah.
Yep. Sean Livingston in the NBA had something like that happen.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up too. It's like it reminds me of that too as well. I was like, oh my god.
Joe Theismann, of course.
Gordon Hayward has something almost like that, but
it's his ankle more.
His was pretty gruesome still, though.
Yeah, as a Steelers fan, when I seen that injury happen, Minka was down too, but like I was like, Minka might have concussed himself. It ended up being a chest injury. But I was like, even if he concussed himself, I was just like heartbroken because I was like, man, I really don't want Chubb to have like a bad injury, and it is. It seems like it is, and that is.
It's sad because like you never want to see like great players go down like that,
Exactly.
Or any player really, for that matter, go down in that fashion.
And
I don't think a lot of people.
It's horrible.
I don't think a lot of people understand like the entire gravity of a knee injury like that. A lot of people are always like, bad. I've been seeing on a lot of fantasy pages on Facebook and other social media outlets that like people are asking like, so do we hold Nick Chubb for next year or the year after and hope he comes back? Like I'd be surprised. Like there's a risk that he might not walk again. Like people don't understand that there's an artery behind your knee and the way it exploded like that, if that gets nicked or explodes or cut or it's all like you can talk amputation of that leg. And
I mean,
his football days are done.
I wouldn't say that because medicine's improved a lot. So we'll have to kind of see how the surgery goes and what type of surgery they go with. Because I mean, that's how Brock Purdy was able to come back so quick.
Got to remember that's not the first time he's exploded that same knee, though. That's why
we'll just have to wait and see. But in terms of fantasy, I'm probably holding on to Nick Chubb because his value is a super, super duper low thing. So I'm just like, whatever. Might as well hold him and see what happens.
Keep him on IR.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, put him on IR. He's not taking up the spot.
Yeah, I'd be on IR. Pick up Kareem Hunt in your league if he's available. Just got signed with the Browns.
Yep. But that was kind of funny to see.
Circle back real quick. Have we seen enough of a sample size to say comfortably that we expect Brock Purdy to be a mainstay top 10 QB for the remainder of his career?
Woo! Since I have him, yes.
Okay, Ben, you didn't believe in him. Shut the fuck up.
Actually, I did believe in Brock Purdy.
No, you didn't.
But I had more faith in Daniel Jones and
others. I got
of
scared that elbow injury.
I was going to say,
you had no faith.
I bought him in the offseason. What do you mean I had no faith?
You were
he had an elbow injury.
You also sold your team.
Yeah.
You also sold your team.
And he was someone I wanted for the rebuild. All my QBs are young.
To answer your question, I'm not comfortable saying yes yet. No,
I am.
I'm not.
Hell yes.
I'm not ready to say yes to that yet because you said rest of his career, next 4 or 5 years, yes. But what happens when these players, CMC's not there anymore? What happens when some of those defensive players depart and they're, stuck in a little bit of a cycle? Trent Williams finally retires. We're talking about a lot of key players that will fade away in about 4 years. They're going to get a few good years out of each one of these players. And Fred Warner might not be there in a few years even.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to keep Bosa. Bosa's going to be there for life. But Warner might walk at some point. But
that's fair points.
But, I think that will be the time that we really judge Purdy. I think that's, if Purdy has 2 shit-ass seasons back-to-back, we're like, why'd we even believe in him? And that would be the moment that's the situation. But I think that he could do it. The talent that we've seen and how good he reads the field and how quick his release is, all those things indicate to being able to be productive on an elite level for a long period of time.
I'm going to have to agree.
Okay.
I think he's going to be great the rest of the season, most likely. I think people shut up about Brock Purdy being good, being a top 10 quarterback once they make the playoffs. I think that's going to be the nail in the coffin for a lot of arguments.
Especially if they win the division again.
Until then, there's going to be those arguments, which are fair and warranted, I think, at least. But I think making the playoffs is going to shut a lot of people up, for sure.
I was going to say, I think it's if he does do well,
I think Purdy.
It's definitely warranted, especially since, don't get me wrong, Jalen Hurts is great, but Jalen Hurts had one elite year, and that went from being a question. That took from being a question mark to, if you say he was at least a top 5 QB, you're getting yelled at. So,
you're a little quiet, Travis.
Basically, he was saying Hurts. If you said he was top 5 beforehand, you'd get yelled at.
Yeah.
All I know is Brock Purdy is doing very well. I decided to start him over Daniel Jones, so I wasn't stupid about it. I knew that was going to be a rough game for Daniel Jones. I do want to give, a call out. With no Barkley and still no true wide receiver one on that team, he still completed 64.7% of his passes.
22-32.
Yep, so 22 for 32, so 64, almost 65% to washed up Paris Campbell. I'm a Colts fan. Washed up Paris Campbell. Darius Slayton kind of had flashes. Wendell Robinson, we were waiting to see what he could do after the injury last year. Hyatt didn't even touch the field, at all. So that sucked. I don't know what's going on at all with that. But it was not a good game for them. And you know what? Until San Francisco scored that last one, it was 20-12, and then it all just kind of 23-12, and then boom, 30-12. But for a while there, it was actually pretty competitive. So I'm happy with the Giants. I'm happy with Daniel Jones. I think the 49ers is going to be one of the toughest defenses. I actually would call them the favorites for the Super Bowl right now. I mean, they obviously had a shot in the preseason, like we were talking about them as one of the 5, but I am solidly putting them at number 1 in my rankings. I can't think of another team right now that could beat them.
I can't either.
So Purdy's showing exactly what San Francisco believed in.
You remember 2 years ago when everybody was hyped about the Chiefs and they were like, there's no way they're going to lose a game this season? I responded, I was like, I think they're going to lose a couple more than they should because their defense isn't good enough. The thing is with the San Francisco 49ers is their offense isn't good enough, and their offense is still ranked, top 5 in every category? What the hell is happening?
I actually was just about to pose that question. Assuming everyone stays healthy, do the 49ers run the tape?
If a team were to do it,
just say that they actually play weeks 15 through 17, even if they are undefeated and have the division first round locked, the first seed locked up. They're going for perfection and actually let's do this.
As it currently stands, I think San Fran has really like 3 or 4 difficult games left. Dallas, Cincy,
Yes.
Jacksonville, and Philly.
Those were going to be the four
and-
that I'd name, but I might.
And then the Rams, week 18, based on how week 2 went. So I
There's
think those
only
are the
one
very
game.
those last difficult games.
There's only one game that I have them having a less than 60% win rate on,
Philadelphia.
and that's the Eagles.
I'd probably put
That's
that
the only
50-50.
game. I'm putting it at like 52% favor of 49ers.
NFC championship rematch.
For sure. All
Yeah,
right.
okay, so while we're on that topic, do you guys think if Brock Purdy doesn't go down, 49ers win it?
The game was still
actually with his swagger. Yeah,
The game was still close before he went down, but the Eagles were still winning.
Mm-hmm.
But I do
They
think
were.
the game changed once he went down. I think they
Yeah.
had a shot, but I think the Eagles still might have pulled it off. It would have been a lot closer though.
I felt like the momentum was swinging in the 49ers' favor so heavily because they just got done scoring. They got his stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and then they're coming back down the field, and then next thing you know, Purdy goes down.
Yep.
And that's when I feel like that was the moment chaos pursued. I feel like there was just a breath that just was held for everybody that was watching, and then everybody released their breath, and it was a sad breath because they realized what had happened upon our patron Brock Purdy.
So sad.
all right. So, Giants take the L. San Francisco moves on. Moving on to Indiana versus Baltimore. Indiana, obviously, we've got Anthony Richardson out, so it's Gardner Minshew season. I think Baltimore slaps them. I think this shouldn't be close. I'm taking start your Baltimore. Lamar Jackson, Gus Edwards, especially with Justice Hill out. Mark Andrews, Zay Flowers. I'm saying start all them. OBJ and Justin Hill are out, so that means more carries for Gus, and that means more targets for Zay. So I'm all for them and Mark Andrews. On the other side, Pittman. That's it. Any disagreements? Anyone thinks Zach Moss?
I'd probably flex Zach Moss for sure.
I wouldn't. Not against this Ravens defense, bro.
Yeah, this Ravens defense is.
I still
Against
would.
that Colts offensive line.
Well, Quentin Nelson is questionable. If he plays, it makes a big difference. So
It does.
If I needed a player to flex, I'm probably going to lean towards Zach Moss.
I'm
Okay.
kind of thinking like flex 3.
wait. You said Zach Moss. So Zach Moss or Sanders? Sanders plays Seattle.
Probably Zach Moss after the game he had last week. I'll probably try to ride the wave.
Okay, Zach Moss, Javonte Williams.
Zach Moss. Javonte Williams hasn't done really anything.
Okay.
He's had less than 2 points or 10 points.
Zach Moss or
2
Gus
weeks.
Edwards. Right in this game.
I don't know what I'd pick on that one, honestly.
That's a little tougher. Okay.
I might still lean Zach Moss.
Wow. You have a what are you thinking Zach Moss does this week?
Like I said, it's just riding the hot wave.
Yeah, call your stat line now, because I've got to know. Over under 66 yards.
I think he probably gets about 70 in a tutty.
70 to 30, okay.
Which
He
is
did
which is-
perform pretty well last week. So
which
How
is
many receptions?
13
He
points.
did it against Houston.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
To have a good week.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
hey, it's Zach Moss, so
Bro.
that's you got to clap. You got to clap.
Roquan
for him.
Smith. Hello.
I still think he probably gets 70 in a tutty. That's what I probably put it. Nothing crazy, but enough to be flex worthy.
Okay, I like it. Anyone want to start Gardner Minshew or flex him in a super flex league?
Yeah,
I mean, Gardner Minshew's got that swagger.
he does. It's his
If I was
time.
desperate.
If it's fucking Minshew season, baby, let's go. I've been waiting years for this fucking thing.
I'm a Colts fan and I love AR. I drafted him. He did very well on the ground. But I love Minshew.
I've
man
always
was a
thought that
boss.
Mitch's never got a fair shake.
I agree.
Yeah.
He never really
That's
did.
why he's still on my team.
Yeah, he leads the fucking Jaguars to the playoffs, gets injured, and then gets fucking thrown to the Wolves because they get Trevor Lawrence. And that's it. That's his NFL career.
Right. I would take Gardner over Desmond Ridder, Sam Howell. I would take him over a couple starting QBs right now easily. Which, hey, you know what? For my backup to believe is higher caliber than starters, I like my chances. I don't like him this week, though. I think we lose for sure. If we were playing someone like Cleveland, Tennessee, Atlanta, Houston, New England, I think we could get it done.
It's funny
Not
how
against New England.
It's crazy to think that just Nick Chubb going down, that one injury, literally changes the dynamic on how we view the Browns. Because we were looking at the Browns as a possible playoff contender. And
I still think they win this week.
That's what I wanted to talk about, was Cleveland Browns hosting the Tennessee Titans.
I think Nick Chubb, losing Nick Chubb, yes, that's a huge loss. Don't get me wrong. I kind of like Jerome Ford. That's hence why I traded so much for him. And they did bring back Kareem Hunt, who does know the system, has played in for a couple years. I don't get me wrong, think they take a step back. I still think they might squeak into the playoffs as the third and final team in that division. So
I don't. I think Watson's washed and not any good.
I do too. That's why I have Dorian Thompson-Robinson in my taxi squad.
I've been saying that forever.
Rubbed, you lose your fucking Super Saiyan powers, bro.
Jesus Christ.
Well, we'll see.
Now he goes in there in a fucking full Batman costume and he says, "They call me Bruce. Bruce Watson. Wayne."
God damn it, Shane.
Amari Cooper, Jerome Ford. Actually, I might consider only flexing Jerome Ford. I get that he's got a good workload, but Tennessee's defense has been strong against the run. Obviously, starting King Henry, maybe flex Hopkins, start Amari Cooper. And that's really all I'm caring for. I don't care for Okonkwo. I don't care for Njoku. What about you guys?
I'm going to agree.
Yeah.
Hunt's I'm firing up Jerome Ford because if I saw it correctly, I think Hunt's not playing this week.
Is he not?
Even if he's not, man, Tennessee's defense has been very, very good.
They're pretty stout, yeah.
They are.
Okay. So
I think Ford might get enough workload to be flexible.
Kareem Hunt will be active week 3. Snap
he will be?
count
Okay.
undetermined.
I do know that head coach there said that Ford's the RB1. So.
Well, yeah.
For this week, at least, yeah.
No, he's going to stay
obvious.
RB1. I mean, they literally gave Jerome Ford the roster spot over Kareem Hunt in the offseason.
We'll see how it goes.
So.
That's why Kareem Hunt isn't on the team anymore.
Yeah. So something's going to have to change for Hunt to overtake him, I think.
Can I talk about a little bit of drama I was hearing about this little Cleveland Browns quarterback real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure.
So there's accusations.
Oh, no.
Allegedly. Our favorite alleged person on this Browns roster, Deshaun Watson, made a burner account to start thrashing his team and praising himself in the Twitter section. The account was made when the plane would have landed back from Pittsburgh. So when they got Wi-Fi again, the account was made and then started posting about 30 minutes to an hour later. So assumedly he got home and then started shit posting on this Twitter account, ragging everybody.
Now,
ragging the organization.
You don't think an NFL team plane has Wi-Fi?
That's fair too. That's true. That's true. But maybe he didn't think about it until he got home too. Like, we're talking about and it was weird shit because the account's gone now. The account's completely gone.
Oh,
I think I like the screenshots. Yeah,
I definitely feel like it was Deshaun.
Yeah, like let me see if I can find this real quick.
All right, how many more bad weeks does he have before they throw the
right
rookie
after midnight when it was posted?
Here's an honest question: How many more bad weeks does Deshaun get before they throw the rookie in?
0.
Probably
Just
the
kidding.
whole
8. Never. Yeah.
Never. With how much they paid him, yeah, they're gonna start the whole
Worst
season.
contract in sports history.
Yes.
No.
Okay, so
no, not the worst.
Let me quote some of these tweets.
No.
Let me quote some of these tweets real quick.
Still not the worst.
Deshaun Watson should be playing in the XFL. Free Watson says, "You broke." And Deshaun Watson is still the best QB in the NFL. He really is. Can't block and call plays, though. TJ Watt completely demolishes Deshaun Watson. He looks stiff in the pocket. He got sacked in 1 second. How he look rusty? Like, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Then free 4. Like, bro, you lucky that you free from prison. Shut the fuck up. Like, his birthday party caused his line not to... Oh, this was the big incriminating one right here, actually. This was the really weird one. His birthday party caused his line to not block. So, like, he's, like, referencing, like, him going to a birthday party, like, that week before, out of nowhere, that, like, was pretty private, like, random shit. Like, information that someone just shouldn't know, like, unless they're, like, a Deshaun Watson super simp that, like, stalks him. Which, if you're stalking Deshaun Watson, that's fine. I understand if you're a taint rubber, but maybe you should pick someone else that has a little bit more taste.
You don't know if he wiped or not. There might be taste down there.
That's true. That's true.
Speaking of taste, I taste no Raider success this week.
Everything I said was allegedly.
Yeah.
And I was not actually saying it was Deshaun Watson. I was saying it was Deshaun's burner, and that's their name. That's the person I'm accusing. I wasn't saying it was Deshaun Watson's burner. I was just saying it was Deshaun Burner. Obviously. Legal teams, please.
Don't come for us.
We got 4 views, bro. Chill.
I'm one of them.
There's about to be letters out of nowhere appearing.
Oh shit, Shane! You just had to say not to start him.
That's when he responds back to you on his Twitter saying, "What do you mean don't start him?"
All right,
by the way, I heard his lawyers are sending you an email right now. I heard about it. Allegedly.
Okay, Ritter. Atlanta-led Falcons. Detroit, 1-1. I think Detroit gets it. My question is bigger. Who gets more touches, Robinson or Gibbs? It's the top 2 running backs of this class, drafted the highest. Do you think they're going to try to feature each other? Because Montgomery's doubtful. So it might be the Gibbs game.
It might, but everything that's been like leaked through the grapevine suggests that they're going to go right back to the committee still. I mean, Gibbs might be the one in the committee now, Montgomery down, but I don't know if his touches are going to go eventually.
I mean, you got to keep in mind too, when Montgomery went down, Gibbs' touches didn't go up. His passing work went up, so we'll probably definitely see more passing work this game, but not necessarily more touches. I don't think.
So they don't want to. They want to be able to utilize his speed and space and his athleticism. The worst way to deal with that is to give him 10 extra carries. That's counterproductive.
Yeah,
right. I am certain about one thing this game, for sure. 2 catches under 30 yards. Kyle Pitts, let's go, baby. You drafted that in like the 5th. Fucking
honestly, I could see this being the game. Pitts actually has a relevant fantasy day because that's the routes that Pitts run, albeit as long as Ridger's allowed to throw it to him or sees them. The routes that Pitts run were the routes that were wide open against the Detroit Lions last week.
And didn't they lose a cornerback?
they lost C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
Yeah.
Yeah, their safety.
Then he's tore an ACL too.
No, there's ACL. He tore a pectoral.
Well, Kirby Joseph is out. Emmanuel Mosley is out.
Yeah, we've 3 out of our 5 starting secondary players that be hurt.
So I wouldn't be surprised if Ritter has a good game.
I'm taking Atlanta, and it hurts my soul to say it because I've been on the Lions bandwagon this whole season.
I'm taking Lions.
Atlanta's defense is really good quietly. They're very quiet about it, but they're very dominant. They have a really good chance to prove it against the Lions here, and I think that they will prove it. The running back by committee thing that they're doing with Algier and Robinson obviously being RB1, set it out of order, is looking dominant. Ritter's looking pretty solid. It looks like he's doing what he needs to do as a field general and just passing the ball around, just getting it to different receivers, spreading the defense wide, keeping them on their toes so your running backs can go ahead and hit that hole. And that's what he's been doing. And they're running it perfectly.
Yeah. I'd probably pick the line.
I'm choosing Lions.
I'll probably go Falcons.
I'm choosing Lions just because I
think it's going to be a good game.
Team, but I'm less confident in it after all the injuries that's happened.
I think that's a healthy Lions team is a different story.
Yeah, but losing 3 key defensive players, I think that's going to be a difference maker.
And not to mention that 3 of our 5 starting offensive linemen are hurt.
And
huge.
David Montgomery's out. Amon St. Brown is questionable. Josh Reynolds is also. Taylor Decker's out. So, yeah, a lot of injuries for the Lions.
I'm leaning Falcons on this one.
I'll give it 52 to the Lions, 48 to the Falcons. I'm still going to say Lions.
I'm going to go with Ben just because I got to root for my team.
That's fair. I don't blame you.
And fuck you, Stuart.
That's right, Stuart. Fuck yourself. So,
dang, that's rude.
I was kidding. We love you, Stu.
Are you guys excited about playing any of these people? Anyone to smash start?
Bijan.
I think
Bijan, Jameer, Algier,
Goff.
100%. Goff.
I think Goff has to be you start thinking about starting him in 1 QB leagues. He's starting to enter that category, I think.
Not if Amon goes down.
Amon-Ra's going to play. He missed the first 2 practices of the week and then came back. So it's like a positive trend of being not negative. So I think Amon-Ra's going to play.
Okay. Fuck the Lions.
I am intrigued by Laporta this week.
He's tied the NFL record for most targets in the first 2 games of his career.
Yeah, he's been seeing 83% of the snaps.
I said he's going to quietly finish top 10 at tight end his rookie year. I think it's going to. If he keeps up, he's going to.
To be fair, it's not hard to finish top 10.
He is number 6 at the moment.
But as a rookie, that is very impressive.
That's all right.
I mean, it wasn't as good as Kyle Pitts with 1,000 yards and 3 touchdowns. Just remember that. Because he was worth a first-round pick 2 years later.
What's your hatred with Kyle Pitts?
Fuck Kyle Pitts!
If you don't agree with Ben, he just hates it.
If you don't chew Big Red, then fuck you.
Dude, Kyle Pitts is the epitome of, I'm an athletic freak. I want to put no effort into it and let everyone down all the time. He had one good year.
I think Kyle Pitts is just the product of a bad team.
Offense, bad team, work ethic, all of it.
I want to say work ethic.
No love.
I will agree on bad offense. Yeah, he's a product of a bad offense.
Well, remember, Ritter's your guy. Remember that.
You can't be a top 10 tight end without a good offense. So
no.
I think Pitts is just in
That's how Darren Waller was fucking number 1 tight end basically 2 years in a row.
Remember, Ritter's your guy, Austin. So you better stand by him. Him and Howell. All year.
Yeah, and Howell's been doing good.
Howell has.
Daniel Jones has been doing dog shit.
Yeah,
I will admit, Howell's done good. Not Ritter. Yeah. Ritter's done okay.
He's done. I've never said Ritter's done great.
Hey, bro.
And Baker's done good. So
I would be hanging on Kyle Pitts if I were you because, he has on average 2 receptions per game, 4 targets per game. We're looking at 29 yards per game. And we're looking at 0 touchdowns.
The only way Pitts gets
I
involved,
He's had 3 touchdowns in his entire career.
the only way Pitts gets enough looks to make up for his average draft position in the draft capital spent on him in fantasy leagues and in real life is if he gets out of Atlanta. Because Arthur Smith isn't anywhere, and he doesn't run a team that's going to benefit him.
No, the way he does it is switch to wide receiver and become good.
I think you plug him in.
He is good.
Tight end, say for the Chargers. Could you imagine?
I like Garrett Everett.
I do too, but could you imagine Pitt on the Chargers?
That'd be good.
On the Chargers, no, I'll take Everett.
Of course.
He at least get 3 catches. That's 1 more catch. I don't know math, but I think that's higher.
Yeah, you don't know math and English, Ben. We know.
Yeah, he also has a consensus top 7 QB and a guy who throws the ball almost 2-to-1 ratio that Ritter gets. So on pure ratio and mathematics, it's not really better.
That means Kyle Pitts would have 4 catches per game, which is 1 more than 3 if I am counting correctly. And since you don't fucking
use
know
your
math,
fingers,
and I do,
You would assume that's how it would work out. I don't think it would.
Well, you're wrong, but that's okay.
Okay, here's the thing with
I'm
Kyle
wrong.
Pitts. He's one of the biggest fantasy busts of all time. But the thing is, you look at his real-life film, and you look at his tape, and you look at his blocking, and you look at everything he's providing that team, he is a really good tight end. They're probably going to re-sign him to a big deal in a couple years. He's going to get a big money day. He will. He's just going to. Because he's just that type of athlete.
to him.
Mark my
Best of
words.
luck to him.
It's 2 years, right? In 2 years, he's going to get paid.
Would I actually like to see a young man do well for himself and turn his career around? Yes, obviously. I would love for him to come out and do very well in the NFL and make himself a back. I just don't believe it. That's at the base of it. So
it's not just the stats, though, with Kyle Pitts. In fantasy, it is just the stats. But with Kyle Pitts, when you're looking at tight end prospects, look at a player like Heath Miller, who might be a top 10 tight end if you're talking about
a fantasy league, or are we running the NFL?
NFL. I literally was specifically talking about NFL.
Again, we don't give a shit because it's fantasy.
All right, Ben, shut the fuck up.
That's not what I said.
Again, on the field, he can be good. But it doesn't translate to fantasy. He sucks at fantasy. And we're a fantasy football right now. We're not talking about GM.
Okay, so in GM mode, and this is why it's applicable to fantasy mode, is if the offense goes ahead and starts clicking and goes ahead and starts passing the ball more, that means, as Travis said, the fucking attempts that Ritter has is 1 to 2 compared to Justin Herbert. So Gerald Everett is half the, no offense to Gerald Everett, but he's half the athlete that Kyle Pitts is. That's just a fact. And what happens if Ritter goes ahead and comes out and has a fucking 40 pass attempt game? How many times is he going to hit Pitts? Probably fucking 7 or 8. Now, the question is, when you are looking to start Pitts, do you think that Ritter will pass 35 plus times? That is the question when you're starting Pitts. And most of the time, it will be no. So that's why he will be a bench. But if you are in a situation where you look at it and you're like, there's a chance.
Actually, Gerald Everett had a higher burst score, agility score, and catch radius at the combine than Kyle Pitts. Just saying. The only thing he's not slightly faster. Pitts is 4.49. Everett is 4.62. So 0.13.
Everett's also 29.
Yeah. And he's been able to play in the league.
We're not talking about back then. We're talking about now.
Now, yeah.
He's still got the same shit.
No, he don't.
Still the same. You don't think 29 is peak male physical age?
No.
Why do you think?
Not in
So
football.
Kelsey has lost a step, or does he look still dominant and elite like he did at the combine?
So it
Gerald
depends on the
Everett
type
never
of player,
crossed
too.
1,000 yards.
We weren't saying has Gerald Everett ever crossed 1,000 yards.
All right, then he's not as good.
That's your base of it.
Hey man, if we're basing off reception and targets, Gerald Everett's not doing so hot.
Sure.
Garbage tight end by your standards.
I would play
Boom.
Everett over him. And I was just saying the quarterback the Chargers were mentioned, so I threw out their tight end. That's not a tight end I would typically choose. I was just going with Travis's Chargers. Just saying.
Yeah, I'll take Kyle Pitts on the Chargers over Joe Everett every day.
I was gonna say, I think an athlete like Pitts being on an offense with Chargers would be great. But that's just we're getting off track now.
Really? Because Quentin
Green
Johnston is a great athlete, and what's he doing? Oh, sorry. That's just athlete.
But we're not talking about wide receiver, are we now, Ben? Jesus Christ. I knew
Honestly,
your English was
tight end
bad.
and wide receivers
I knew your English was bad. I didn't know it was that
ball
bad.
catchers.
Can you hear, you dumb fuck?
He also has 2 top 24 fantasy wide receivers in front of him on that route.
Where do you think the target should go? To the better wide receivers. I think Drake London's better than Kyle Pitts. Anyone disagree with that statement?
No.
So where do you think the target should go?
Out of Ritter's hands.
Yeah? To a player on the offense?
Yeah.
But we know what's going to happen.
You can't go to London on every fucking pass.
All you're going to see against the Lions is this. Where's Bijan? That's what's going to happen all game.
And it's going to work,
Not
too.
not all game, but
It's going to be 2 passes to Bijan on the outside, and then the next 2 plays up the middle. You're going to gain 15 yards each. We're going to get shredded.
Yeah.
Well, you know who's going to shred? Love is going to shred the Saints defense. That boy, legit. 6 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Number 3 in our league right now for QBs. I'm just throwing it out there. I was dead on him. Loving it.
no.
I'm glad I traded for him.
You can say that at the end of the season through 2 games being number 3 is not impressive.
Well, then you can't call Daniel Dimes bad. It's 3 games.
I was calling him bad last year. I was calling him bad last year.
And he wasn't.
He was.
He was not bad last year.
Yeah, it was.
Jordan Love is a better fantasy asset than real life quarterback because nothing screams good about, he has touchdowns all he wants and 0 interceptions, but when you're completing 55% of your passes, that's not good.
Yeah. All right, let's do
Especially
it.
when
Hold
you
on.
go back downs to Aaron Jones.
Divided by how many pass attempts?
I mean, I'm literally on Pro Fantasy Football Reference right now. I'm looking at that number right now.
Almost 56. 55.7. Technically 769230769230777, bitch.
What?
So anyways,
English.
it's technically 55.7. 69.
But yeah, 55.8% completion percentage and 396. So he's averaging 98 yards per game and through the air as well.
Mm-hmm.
He's just his defense team's putting him in great spots, and he just happens to complete a pass in the red zone within 5 yards.
What it shows is he doesn't turn the ball over. He's been sacked twice. He makes smart decisions.
Pass the ball unless he's inside the 10-yard line.
So Love is being a good game manager. That's all they want him to be. So I love it. It's a fantastic deal for him.
I do think,
and he's going to keep it up going
as an actual NFL team if they want to actually.
Okay, why are you going so much into the GM? We're not GM.
Hey Ben,
is this Madden?
Up? Why don't you shut
the fuck up? Because then I'll draft Kyle Pitts.
No, because Jordan Love is not as good as you're trying to say. That's all I'm saying. Give it 3-4.
He's number 3 in our league. How can you say he's not cool? It doesn't matter if it's through 2 or 10.
No, it does
So
matter.
right now, would you rather have the number 3 quarterback?
2 weeks cannot be declared Jesus.
I'm not declaring him Jesus. I'm saying he's good. Now, you're telling me right now
You want to suck
on
his
your
dick.
team. Why would you bring that up? I think you're the only one who has that on your mind.
No,
So you would rather have
You do. You want to suck him and Danny Dimes off, apparently.
So right now you would rather have Sam Howell, Matthew Stafford, C.J. Stroud over Love.
Long term, yeah.
Okay. That's long term. I'm talking about for the first 2 weeks of your season, you're saying you'd rather take less points.
I'm not playing for the first 2 weeks.
Well,
You're right. You play every week individually.
I'm
you
playing
make trades.
Dynasty. I'm playing long term.
Ben, that's a bullshit question. Like, yeah, obviously with hindsight, I would like to start the top 3 quarterbacks.
Thank you.
But
No.
that's not necessarily saying week 3, week 4, week 5 I want to start him. I'm
All right,
just saying,
Ben, if you
obviously I would have preferred to start a quarterback that was playing that well.
Hey,
I
Ben,
am on the
stop.
Jordan Love train, but I don't think that he's going to be as efficient as a fantasy player this week. I think that he's going to fall down to around QB 12 area against the Saints defense. I do think Derek Carr will have a very good game though, as
and
well.
that's
And
still
I think,
usable.
All right, Ben.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
you're
I
so
agree. I
Top
think he's
32
so
quarterback. Top 32 quarterbacks are usable.
If you're
What you
so
mean?
confident in Jordan Love, hop on your dual kings right now, your DraftKings right now, and put down $100 that Jordan Love will finish as a top 10 fantasy QB for the entire season.
Depends on
You
how
can't
they
bet
rank
it.
it. Remember, we have the bonuses and other things and 6-point passing touchdown. If it's a 4-point passing touchdown, I don't feel as confident.
All right, put money where your mouth is. Make a bet. Put him over 250. Such a thing is going to do godly.
250 yards this week?
Mm-hmm.
That's almost 60 yards below his average for the season per game.
Put your money where your mouth is and shut the fuck up.
Okay.
On to the next.
That's perfectly fine. Also, with Watson coming back.
But so you're saying you're starting Jordan Love for sure.
No, I'm sitting him now, guys. I'm sitting him now. Of course I'm starting him. Of course.
Derek
That was a
Carr,
fucking stupid question.
Derek Carr, Olave.
Ben, why don't you get the dick out of your ass? Jesus Christ.
What? Why?
I didn't say why. I said get it out of your ass.
No. Why? I like it up there apparently because you have dicks on your mind apparently with my ass. I'm just saying, which one of us is the gay one? Who's been thinking about dicks more?
No, you're just very, very extra right now. You need to calm down.
Hey, Ben, there's nothing wrong with being gay.
There's nothing. I never said there was.
Yeah,
Hey, toe sucker.
Let's not be circling on gay as a partial insult right here,
All right.
Ben.
I've got a Discord husband.
All right, anyways, back
Top
to football. Back to football, Ben. Shut the fuck up.
No,
no one cares about you.
I think the player in this matchup that you need to start, that I think is going to have a sneaky good day, Juwan Johnson, the tight end from the Saints, is in a good spot to have a good day. Chris Olave is going to be blanketed by Jair Alexander all game. So Derek Carr is going to be forced to look somewhere else. He likes his tight ends. I think Juwan Johnson is a good spot. If you're looking for a player to put in your tight end spot, I think he has a top week for tight ends.
Yeah, probably. I'm starting those 3 people on the Saints. Probably not starting Derek Carr if I have other quarterbacks on hand.
Olave, Thomas, Shaheed, and
Not
maybe
starting
Flex Johnson.
any of the Packers wide receivers.
No, none of them have had enough yards. It's just whoever gets the touchdowns is fantasy relevant. And in week 1, it was Dobbs. Week 2, it was Reed. So who's going to be this week?
Yeah, exactly.
Hey,
Maybe.
I mean,
you hope.
I mean, something that's funny to me, about the Packers. You know who the receiving leader this season is?
For yards or catches?
Yards.
Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
On 2 receptions, by the way.
Yeah, he had 86 yards.
Yep, in week 1, nonetheless.
Mm-hmm.
Wild.
Pretty bad.
And he didn't even play week 2.
Yeah.
That's what I said, week 1.
That's tough.
So a game that I think is going to be fun this week. Denver and Miami.
Really? You think that's fun?
I think it's going to be more fun than people think it is. Yeah, Patrick Surtain going to be blanketing Tyreek Hill all game. I still think Tyreek can get his a little bit. But I don't know.
Tyreek is looking like an unstoppable force.
I think this game's going to be closer than most people think it is. I do think Miami win. But I think a lot of people probably going into this thinking Miami's just going to spank them 35-17 or worse. And I think it's going to be a 1-touchdown game.
I could see it.
For no reason
Russell
whatsoever.
Wilson. He's coming back to form. A lot of dead time.
I don't. I just really don't. I don't think that's even going to be a contest. I think it's just going to be Dolphins all day. I think
Dolphins
it's going to be
by a
ugly.
mile.
Yeah.
I'm going with Travis.
I do think this is the week that Waddle has a bounce back week just because Denver's one of the few teams that has a bona fide, legit lockdown corner. So if he's frustrating Tyreek for most of the game, I think this is the game Waddle's a big target there. But you got to plug in Raheem Mostert right now, the way he's playing, taking over that backfield. You got to play him. Then you obviously start 2 with Tyreek and Waddle. And then in 2 QB leagues, you're starting to, I think you can trust Russell Wilson again. And until I see otherwise, that's the only person I'm confident that I'm not even necessarily confident starting in general on Denver's offense right now is Russell Wilson in 2 QB leagues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd probably say the same.
I want to see more. I think there's potential in Javonte Williams in the receiving corps eventually, but we got to see it first.
They got to prove it.
Yep.
I agree.
Hey, Austin.
What's up?
What'd you think about your team this week?
I think we'll win.
You want to talk to me about it? Tell me about it.
I think it's gonna be an easy win. Ramondre Stevenson's gonna be good. Easy win. Yeah, because I love the Patriots defense. What they've shown through the first 2 weeks, getting those defensive points, especially having a sick field goal block last week. That was a crazy design play for that block, and then on top of that, I just don't trust Zach Wilson. He's gonna throw 2 picks.
Would you trust Zach Wilson with your mom?
Zach Wilson's a dog, all right? Those aspects. He's a dog in those aspects.
No, who's the dog?
No one cares, Travis.
You know who's the dog.
But listen, with the Patriots and Jets, I think if Zach Wilson doesn't turn the ball over, it's going to be a decent game, but not a great game because I think the Patriots defense is good enough to hold the Jets to a lot of 3-and-outs. They have a lot of good young defensive players. Zach Gonzalez is good. Kyle Duggar is good. That defensive line is good. It's going to pose lots of problems for the Jets running game. They're not going to be able to run very well or effectively.
What's up with this fucking furry?
I don't know.
He's the dog. Yeah, from that game, I'm only interested in Stevenson and Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson.
This is a cruel twist of fate.
Jacoby Myers, I'm probably flexing.
This is
Jacoby Myers. He had a pretty good game week 1.
Garrett Wilson, I'm leaving off. I'm leaving on the bench
Jacoby Meyer.
Not Jacoby Meyer.
Learn your own Patriots.
Shut the fuck up, Ben.
This is your team.
Why don't you shut the fuck up?
He got traded.
How about that?
I can name all my receivers on my team.
I don't really care
without even looking.
I don't really care
But
what
you
you can
can't
do.
So you're
get
Ben.
not
past
even a
5,
football
Ben.
fan.
I don't really
You can't-
care what you can do. All right, how about that? But anyways, I'm not starting Garrett Wilson. He's staying on the bench. He's keeping his ass on the bench.
What about Hunter
Until-
Henry?
Wait, did you just say you're benching
Maybe.
Garrett Wilson?
Yeah.
He's been touchdown dependent without Rodgers throwing in the ball. So
He-
He
touchdown
only
or-
got like fucking 2 plays with Rodgers.
I know, that's what I'm saying. There's a
Even
track record.
okay. Take
He put up
Take-
14 in week 1 and 16 in week 2. What?
And take away the touchdown in each game, and how many points would he have?
I don't care. I don't
Does it-
trust that. I
He
don't
still
trust that
got
Jets
the
offense.
touchdowns. You could say that for any players. Oh, that player had 10 touchdowns last season. Well, how good would he have been if he got 0?
No, what I'm saying
Deontay
is,
Johnson last
what I'm
season.
saying
Kyle
is-
Pitts.
what I'm saying is,
Yeah.
someone, if you take the touchdown off the top and they're in single digit points, that's a
Well,
touchdown dependent player.
Deontay
You
Johnson
can't
had
throw all
0 touchdowns last season.
So
So, like,
all I'm
there's-
saying is, so far,
it's a big
Wilson
deal when you're talking about receivers, because especially in PPR, because if a player's getting 10 catches a game, and it don't matter if they. What about Julio a few years ago? He had a fucking record-breaking season and no fucking TDs. That's the difference between a TD-dependent fucking wide receiver and a non-TD-dependent wide receiver. It depends on how many targets and catches they get per game in PPR leagues. Come on, Ben. Fundamentals, dog.
And you know what? I'll keep taking the person who's scoring the touchdowns. So you know what, you guys?
Yeah.
Please drop all your touchdown-dependent people. I will happily pick them up.
All right,
It's
you
not-
do it first.
No. I have no problem with touchdown
No,
dependent.
do it. Do it.
I love
Drop your
touchdown
reception
dependent.
guys.
All right, drop him.
I love my touchdowns. That's the hardest thing to do in football. So if a player's doing it 2 weeks in a row and there's no sign of them slowing down, yeah, I'm going to just roll with that motherfucker.
But that's the thing you're missing, Ben. There is a sign of them of him slowing down, and it's Zach Wilson being his quarterback.
He did it in week 1 and 2 with Wilson.
But Wilson
Don't
isn't
care.
that good.
That doesn't matter. He still got the touchdown.
It does matter.
So, do you think Garrett Wilson is on pace to get 17 touchdowns this season?
On
Obviously
pace,
you do.
Technically,
All
Do I
right, put your
think
money
he
where
will?
about this. Put your money
do I
where about
think
this,
he
or shut
will?
the fuck up.
Probably not. But I'm not going to drop him or not start him.
I said I was going to drop him. I said I was going
I
to
didn't
leave him
say
off my.
drop.
I was
Yeah,
going to say I
don't
was
start
leaving
him
him on
this
my
week.
bench.
It's a tough
Week
defense.
1, 5 receptions, 34 yards. Week 2,
Yeah.
2 receptions for 83 yards. So without
I'm
a
not.
crazy
I'm not
play,
starting him.
yeah, he's very boomer bust right now and has gotten lucky with the
Okay,
touchdown.
he's
That's
very
how he was
boomer
last year.
bust, and he's boomed twice. I'm so sorry.
So yeah,
You
a team
should
with
be
a good-
sorry.
So a team with a good
He's not
defense,
worth starting this week.
Yeah. If you play him, I'd flex him, but I'm not starting him as one of my 2 wide receivers.
No, I'm not even flexing him. He has a
I can see a
tough
flex.
ass week matchup.
I could see flexing him. Because if you're
Probably
in a
not.
position,
It depends on my team. It depends on my team.
Because
right?
look
Like
at it
my-
like this: if you got a flex player that is solid, it's going to score you 7 points, nothing more, nothing less. You know the type. You might want to start a boomer bust guy if you projected to lose by 10 points. Fuck it, we gonna lose anyways. Might as well go for the Hail Mary, right?
Yeah,
some
he
days
has.
it's tough.
He has high upside, but not safe.
Dangerous.
So, yeah, so
That's
I'm not
true.
relying on it. I'm not confidently starting anything. Confidently putting in the flex either.
Ben,
I
Patriots,
love Garrett
Jets,
Wilson.
who's gonna win?
I love Garrett Wilson, but not enough to confidently put him in my lineup. Patriots gonna win all
Well,
day.
it says Patriots. Ben,
After what I saw against the Dolphins and Eagles, yeah, I can pretty confidently say that.
Oh, I don't give a shit who wins or loses. This game doesn't interest me. I have no players on it, and I hate the Patriots and the Jets. I'm only hoping Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson do well.
so who do
Well,
you
you
think
don't have either, so it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Okay.
Again, you reiterating what I just said,
Yeah, so shut the fuck up.
so I don't really care. Actually, I have a trade out for Garrett Wilson, so I might have him, but that's a different story.
I kind of do too, actually. Stuart was texting me about it all day today. We kind of had like a trade set, but I'm uncertain about it still.
I'm waiting for him to send me it.
Who's going to win, the Patriots or Jets?
Honestly, I might lean the Patriots this week.
I'm leaning towards Patriots too.
I just think they have too good of a defense.
Yeah.
Yep.
And honestly, like their first 2 weeks were really tough. Like very hard. Like I think they get hot off this.
They're a few inches shy of tying with the Eagles potentially.
Yeah.
When it came down to in the clutch moment.
Yep.
So I like their chances. I don't think it's a guaranteed win by any means because anything can happen any given Sunday. But I like it a lot more than I liked it against the Eagles and the Dolphins for sure. So I'll leave it at that. What's the next game?
I don't know. You guys have been bouncing around. I don't have the list anymore. So whatever one you guys want.
All right, Shane, what you got?
How about Buffalo, Washington?
Ooh.
I'm definitely going Washington for sure, right? No. Same house, Jesus. Remember, guys?
I never said he was Jesus.
I'm going Washington. This is my hot take of the week. I'm taking Washington.
Okay, explain, Shane.
You know, I think Washington's defense is going to be good enough to match up against the Bills. I don't think that they're going to stop them, but I think that they'll be able to stop the bleeding enough where the offense is going to be able to maintain a shootout. And I think if they could do that, they can win the game. Because I think the Commanders' offense could put on more than 30 points against the Bills' defense.
I wouldn't be surprised.
So, like, if the defense could stop the bleeding below 30 points, I think the Commanders can pull it off.
They have one of the better D-lines in the league. They get some pressure on Allen. Anything can happen.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, we saw that when he threw 3 interceptions. So,
yep.
I mean, I don't know. I'm probably starting James Cook, too, from the Bills. Starting Diggs, starting Allen.
Look at that. I said that someone on the offense besides Diggs needed to do something, and Gabe Davis and James Cook came through.
And they did. They delivered massively. They did. So I'd probably start those players. And for Washington, probably Sam Howell, maybe Terry.
What about Brian Robinson? Is he doing enough to be worthy of a flex spot for you?
I would think about it.
I'm out on Jahan Dotson right now. He's proven me wrong right now. I'm kind of disappointed.
Oh, but remember, I was underpaying, guys.
Yeah,
just bringing that back up.
Okay, cool.
At the time, I still underpaying that, but I definitely think his value has gone down now through 2 weeks for sure.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I'm calling it Bills. It's easy.
No one cares.
So, Allen, Cooks, Diggs. And hell, I'm even flexing Dalton Kincaid as a tight end because
you're just
Dalton Kincaid's actually been very good in a PPR league. Hasn't gotten a touchdown, but 4 catches for a tight end, pretty decent. 5 catches the next week, still pretty decent. So I'd flex him as a tight end.
That's crazy. I don't remember asking.
No, that's perfect. That's why I have 3 rings, and I didn't listen to you.
Crazy. No one cares about your rings. No one cares.
You want to know why? That's what people say when they don't have rings. Oh, no one cares. It's the past. It's the history.
No one still cares. Why would anyone care?
That's not what anybody said. No one cares about your fantasy league. Like, we're the only ones that are in it.
Exactly. You 3.
No,
yeah,
no one cares.
We're just like, cool. Yeah, you beat us in fantasy. That's awesome. I'm happy for you.
That's what we're talking about right here, right now.
Cool story,
fantasy football.
Oh, shit. That's what we're talking about?
So, therefore, it's relevant.
Damn. Wait. I didn't realize we were talking. Shane, did you know we're talking about fantasy football, bro?
What am I supposed to do with this segment about LeBron James being worse than Michael Jordan?
I thought we were talking about fucking cricket. Or polo.
Bro.
Awesome.
What am I supposed to do with this Messi segment now, bro?
Cricket. India. Or New Zealand, I forgot. Shit, guys, we start talking about rugby too. Then while we're at it, because apparently we don't know what we're talking about. Fuck.
Hey, bro, what about Olympic curling? That's one of my favorite sports.
Ultimate dad sport. Ultimate dad sport right there.
This is all the
oh my god.
This is curling I do right here.
That shit is magnificent to watch,
Shane,
bro.
Shane, you'd be a good sweeper, whatever the fuck they're called.
Yeah, I know, bro. I've trained for decades for this position.
Shuffleboard.
Ultimate dad sport right there. God damn. I would love to do credit. And what an easy sport. I wonder how. All right, I'm not going to say it's easy, but I don't know what goes into it. But it seems like it'd be one of the easier Olympic sports to actually get into. For sure.
Well, anyways.
All right,
Let's
Rams
finish
and
up the
Bengals.
1 p.m. Wait, what?
Oh, the
Rams,
1 p.m.
Bengals.
games. Okay, you go.
Yeah,
I was
let's
just
finish
picking.
up
I was just picking a team, Shane.
Yeah, let's finish up the 1 p.m. games at Los Angeles Chargers at Minnesota Vikings.
That game's going to be a shootout. I think you start all the star players in that game.
Yeah, anybody that like has been getting significant targets at all. So we're talking, here we go. Kirk Cousins, auto start. Justin Herbert, auto start. Kelly, auto start. Madison, auto start. Allen is in this game, right? Eckler's injured.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Keenan Allen's playing.
Yep. Allen's in. Start him. Jefferson's in. Start him. Like anybody you can get your damn hands on for this game. This is going to be one of the best 0-2 games on both sides that you're ever going to watch in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Winner of this game makes the playoffs. The other doesn't, even though they're in opposite conferences. Just bull take. I mean, historically speaking, starting 0-3 is not normally good for going for the playoffs.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, Mike Williams, a guy that I was talking about in this offseason, 12 receptions. Obviously, Keenan Allen. Mike Williams, kind of a sleeper. Maybe you can get him for cheap. 12 receptions, 18 targets, 128 yards, 0 touchdowns. That touchdown rate's going to go up a little bit. He's probably going to have 5 or 6 by the end of the season. Ben talking earlier about Everett, solid tight end in fantasy right now. You said he was tight end 8, Ben? I think you mentioned earlier.
No, he wasn't that high.
Oh,
anyway.
He wasn't.
No. I was just using the tight end of the Herbert throws too for Travis over Kyle.
I thought you said he was tight end 8.
No. I mean, for the way the teams are right now, I would start.
I do.
I would start Everett this way. I would start Everett. I would start Everett against the Vikings. Like I think he has potential to be top tight end 8. Like against the Vikings.
Definitely Hawk.
I think Hawk is top tight end 4 against the Chargers. I'm not saying you have to pick one or the other.
I think Hawk's going to finish tight end 1 on the season.
Is that because he's number 1 right now?
Maybe.
No, I said that months ago. And then Kelsey missed in a week.
I don't think he does enough in the passing game to beat Kelsey. Top 4, strong chance, yeah. 1, I wouldn't put money on that one. But I agree.
That's
very,
fair.
very good this year. Way better than he ever would be with the Lions. Way. Hands down.
He didn't want to do the dirty work that the Lions want the tight ends to do because of the way they run their offense. That's why the Lions moved on from him.
Lock in or wins. Ben.
Lock it or what?
The wins.
Vikings, Chargers. Travis, while Ben's thinking.
Chargers.
I'll be the odd man. I'll take Minnesota.
Of course.
Not a boy.
I mean, I honestly am not upset with either or on this game.
All right, we get to our 4 p.m. games. We're looking at Carolina in Seattle. They're visiting the Big House, the Big 12. Yeah.
Sitting Miles Sanders.
Starting Kenneth Walker, though.
Yep. Of course.
Sanders is a flex start, though.
Iffy. I'd be iffy on him.
I could see him cooking a little bit.
A little
I
cookie
think,
McCook.
Yeah. Like is Bryce Young playing this game? No,
he's not. He's out.
So they're going to be relying more on the run. I think Miles Sanders might be able to put together, like a 20 rush type performance. And
I could see it. I'd probably put Miles Sanders like our mid RB2.
I like how we
So I think he'll kind of finish.
a 1:00 game. But
what'd you say?
I said I like how we skipped a 1:00 game.
Which
but
one?
I will have to apologize because last time I said I think it would be JSN, the reason why they win. It was Tyler Lockett. So I will bite my tongue on that and still start Metcalf, flex Lockett, start Sanders, start Kenneth Walker, and flex Geno. And I think Seahawks all day on this one.
I agree, Seahawks
100%.
all day. I do think you start Geno as well. I'm going to stay consistent with my speaking because I did say that Garrett Wilson touchdown dependent. Kenneth Walker has been very touchdown dependent as well this season so far.
Yep.
So, Carolina has a stingy defense, but I do think overall Carolina's missed too many pieces. Kenneth's probably a safe play this week.
He's going to get 15 to 20. At first you're kind of scared of Zach Charbonnet, but I don't think you're scared of him really at the moment, at least. So I think Kenneth is pretty safe for 15 to 20 touches. A little work in the passing game.
I just don't think Carolina, even as good as I think they are on defense, I don't think they have enough on offense to keep the game close enough. So Kenneth will get work in the second half,
especially in like late fourth quarter type thing too. Yeah.
Yep.
It's probably going to be like at least a 14-point win for the Seahawks.
I was going to say 30 to 14. I think it's going to be final. Maybe I'll say 17. 30 to 17. 30 to 17.
I could see that.
I think that's fair.
I would not be surprised.
Let's rewind time. I did miss a 1 p.m. game. Texans at Jaguars.
I thought it was going to be a good game, too. So I was excited to talk about it. Because Stroud looks good.
Stroud does look
I was hot on Stroud. I said that I thought he was the best QB in the draft. So far, he looked like on field. It was a toss-up between him and AR-15. Or AR-5 now. But
shut up. No, it's not. No, it's not.
Well, Anthony Richardson himself says he doesn't want to be referred to that, so I gotta respect it. But
okay, that's fair.
But Stroud's looking good. I think he's the QB that will actually. I'm not saying he's gonna be great. He's got a lot of football to play still, but I think he's the QB that's gonna break the trend of Ohio State QBs being anything more than doo-doo in the NFL.
Yeah.
I think he will break that trend.
For the Texans side, I'm starting Stroud, starting Nico Collins, benching Dameon Pierce for now.
Yep.
Till we see him get more work, or at least score more points, because I think he's averaging like 7 points a game right now, which isn't enough. I mean, he's decent flex if you actually need someone really bad, but outside of that, he's staying on the bench. Maybe Robert Woods, if you need a spot to fill. I'd probably put him in there.
Would you do Robert Woods over Tank Dell? Because they both had good games, 7 catches, 72, a touchdown, 6 catches, 74, no touchdown. Those were their stat lines. 9 targets, 10 targets. So very similar across the board in week 2. Week
I
1,
think
they
you
both
kind of
sucked.
you just put one in there who everything is going to be did as. It's kind of just like a dart throw. Nico Collins, I think at this point, at least is looking like as the wide receiver 1.
Yeah,
locked in for
I think it's
9-10 targets at least.
Well, Tank Dell is getting 9 targets, and Robert Woods is getting 10 targets, and they're throwing the ball that much. I mean, the receiving core in Houston might quietly have 3 fantasy relevant wide receivers.
That's
Maybe,
true.
But
all right,
they are
around the table.
It's 44, 47. So
Ben, Texans, Jags.
I'm going Jags.
Jags all day.
Yeah,
27-17 Jags.
Yeah, I'll go
I'll take
30.
Texans.
I'll take 30 to 15.
I'll take Texans to be the odd man out. I could see them pulling off a 14-13 victory.
Balls.
I mean, if it gets ugly like the game did in Kansas City last week, big gritty. I mean, Jack still struggled with the next gritty game.
Let's move on to our next 4 p.m. matchup. Dallas Cardinals. I'm thinking Cardinals all day here, boys.
Of course, I can see you.
That's right. You fire up Kyler Murray while he's on the bench and on the IR.
Joshua Dobbs leads us to victory, baby.
At this moment,
I think you plug in James Conner at the moment, and that's it.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Maybe Marquise
anybody
Brown
on the
as a
Cowboys
flex.
side you get your hands on.
yeah, now that Big
CeeDee Lamb.
Marquise Brown might be flexible. He's been okay.
Yeah.
And then Dak, CD, Tony Pollard, all starting.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
Has a good bounce back game. He's going to be back.
Not much to talk about here. I think it's just going to be a brutal ass whooping. Cowboys, Ben?
Cowboys.
I think a better
Austin?
question is, does anyone
Cowboys.
think Arizona even keeps it within 30?
Yeah.
Yeah. I would call it like 35-10.
Okay.
I'll give them 10. A field goal and a lucky James Conner touchdown.
All right.
Okay.
We got Bears visiting Arrowhead, home of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
What we thinking here, boys?
That
I think
Fields
it's
really
a
never
score
took
line.
that step forward.
I think it's a similar scoreline to the game we just got, or to the match we just been talking about, 35-10 Chiefs.
I'm kind of
Agreed.
same page. I think Pacheco's a start this week. I think that's the only questionable one. I
Yeah.
do think that he's a good start this week, though. Watson, he's been proving himself. 5 receptions, 107 yards, leading the team in receiving yards. Patrick Mahomes, obviously.
Yep.
Same rules with the Kansas City Chiefs with every week. You hope you pick the right receiver. It might be Sky Moore this week. It might be Watson this week. It might be Kadarius Toney next week. You just take your shot with it, and you hope you get it right. And if you do, boy, are there riches.
Do you flex DJ Moore this week after the week he had last week?
Yes, sir.
Probably not.
Yeah, I would.
I don't trust that Bears offense.
I'm not telling people to start this person. I'm just telling people keep your eye out for the way this kid plays. He will earn more of the backfield later in the year. I'm calling that now. Rashawn Johnson, the backup running back right now, I believe will have a 60-40 split by the end of the year where he's holding damn near 60 of it.
Mhm.
Because
Similar to
he
what
has
happened
done.
with Lenny and Rashad White last season.
Yep.
I agree with
I called it then. I'm
100%.
calling it again this year. This is my guy. Hence why I grabbed him and I've just benched him. And he's efficient. Just keep your eye out for him.
All right. So, Ben, who you taking?
KC.
Austin?
KC all day.
Travis?
This one should be a
KC.
clean sweep.
And
I wanted to play devil's advocate, but-
for me, I gotta say, duh, Chiefs.
No.
Had you in the first half, though. I know I did. All right, let's move into our
Jesus Christ.
primetime games. Leading off with Sunday Night Football, featuring the Pittsburgh Steelers visiting the Las Vegas Raiders.
You
Can't
really
wait
want
for
to do
the
that
Steelers to
intro.
lose.
I think this is a game where you only start Josh Jacobs, Devontae Adams, and George Pickens. No one else.
Yeah.
No Najee?
I said what I said. Don't make me.
No, let's revisit. I'm just kidding.
No, like, here's the thing, man. Like, Camden needs to go. I don't want to make this a whole segment, but, like, I can preach to the choir. Everybody who's a Steelers fan knows. People who aren't Steelers fans know. There's too much talent on that team to be looking that horrendous. Najee Harris shouldn't be running sweeps, it turns out. Getting him in zone blocking schemes where, like, the blocker randomly doesn't pull out to the middle linebacker because it's by design. Like, these are horrible play calls. We're talking about shit that wouldn't work in high school. Jet sweeps on every drive. This shit's horrendous. It needs to get the fuck out. And until that does, Kenny Pickett's not a start. Najee Harris is not a start. Jalen Warren's not a start. Deontay Johnson's not a start. Pat Freiermuth might be a start. And George Pickens is the only start for the Steelers offense. Until that does happen.
I might disagree with you, Shane. I'm going to flex Jalen Warren. I'm going to start Pickens. I'm going to start Freiermuth this week. Because a lot of the receivers are hurt. Who are they even rolling out? Pickens, Robinson, Calvin Austin. They have to throw the ball to someone. I think Warren's going to, just like last week, get plenty of catches for a PPR league. And Pat Freiermuth, I think, gets the touchdown this week. So I actually kind of like this one. I think this is going to be closer than some people realize. I think Pittsburgh loses, don't get me wrong. But I like for fantasy a little bit.
I think Pittsburgh wins. I think they pull it out. Now,
You know
if we
what?
would've
With
done
the
it-
defense,
I could see it going the other way.
I'll go Pitt.
I
Just for
was
shame.
high on
I'm
Vegas
Pittsburgh.
a little bit, but after the way Vegas looked last week against the Chiefs, or not the Chiefs, against the Bills, I don't know. That was not pretty. Not pretty.
I think a big benefit for the Steelers this week is that Gunnar Olszewski, whatever the fuck his name is, our kick returner, is ruled out. Worst kick returner in the NFL. Austin, you remember him? He was with the Patriots for a couple years. Gunnar Olszewski.
Yeah.
Horrible. So he's out right now. And rumor has it that he's going to be cut. So that might benefit Calvin Austin's fantasy value because he is the second string on kick and punt returns. So Calvin Austin might have some fantasy value because of that.
He did be a little quick.
He do be a little bit. Speedy.
Just a little bit.
I take Steelers. Ben, final lock in.
I'll lock in Steelers.
All right, Austin.
Raiders.
Travis.
I'm going Steelers.
All right. Moving on to Monday Night Football featuring Philadelphia Eagles visiting the pesky little Pirates in Tampa Bay that have found their way to a 2-0 record. How about that? Ben was right all along after 2 weeks. Praises to Ben.
I wouldn't say. Oh no praises
It's
to
just
Ben.
the
He
start
doesn't
of
deserve
it.
it.
Baker Mayfield is an elite quarterback. Ben was right.
Nah, I wouldn't say elite, but I told you, this is his best chance
World
to be
breaker.
elite with options.
That's true.
Actual receivers. And he's showing he's, reducing the mistakes and he's playing football at the base end of it. Like he's not fucking up.
Mike Evans is down there somewhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's a good enough receiver that he's going to go get it. So do I think he's going to be elite next year? No. Do I think this transforms his career? No. Do I think he has a good ass year? One and done? Yeah. This is,
Geno Smith?
in my opinion, yeah. Exactly. A Geno Smith type. I think this is his opportunity to show what he could have been. And it'll be that. In my opinion. But yes, I do take him, but just not this week. I don't like him against Philadelphia's defense. I would bench him.
Rashad White.
For sure. Flex just because of the volume.
Yeah.
Evans?
Evans and Godwin's, you got to flex them because one of them's going to catch the touchdown.
I think Evans is a must start in general right now. Slay has, don't get me wrong, Eagles defense still looks really good, but I think Slay's finally lost that. And Evans has been nuclear so far through 2 weeks.
No. He's been touchdown dependent. Don't change your shit.
176 yards is not touchdown.
171, but you take off those 6. That's only 28. That's only one good week. And then the week before, it's only 12. That's a bust week. So that's 1 and 1. He's touchdown dependent. Suck a dick.
Well, going off of your earlier logic, 7 points is good enough for a flex. So shut the fuck up.
Exactly. If they
Yeah,
get a
so shut the
touchdown-
fuck up. Not a
they
bust.
get a
12
touchdown-
points is not a bust because
if
12
they
is
get a
bigger
touchdown-
than 12 is bigger than 7.
In that
He's
case,
right.
you
He's
have to
got a
say
point.
Garrett
He's
Wilson is
got a
worth the
point.
start.
No,
Because he had over 12 both weeks.
If you look at the
Jalen
doesn't
regular,
matter. I didn't call him touchdown dependent.
Jalen Hurts, do we start him this week?
Yes.
Yeah.
Easy. Of course.
lock. Devontae Smith, lock. AJ Brown, going to have a bounce back. I think he's going to start popping off. Swift, I think.
I would think about it.
I would,
Because
No.
his
Because
usage,
we did.
his use, Ben, shut the fuck up. His uses between weeks 1 and 2 are so drastically different.
Okay, because when Shane and I did the who's better, did the team thing, and I chose Swift, you voted against me. So I'm just saying, Swift is not shit to you, so don't you dare start him, Austin. Don't you think anywhere near
When
it.
did I say I was going to start him?
I'm just saying.
never-
You just
I-
said.
I said I would think about it, you dumb bitch.
There you go. So you can't.
I
He's a
wouldn't-
sit-
I ne-
I'll
I never
correct it.
said. I
I'll
never
correct
said
it.
I was going to start him. I said I would think about it.
I'll correct Austin. Austin
I knew you.
is a sit
I knew your
for
English.
Swift.
No, I knew your English was bad. I didn't know it was this bad. Jesus Christ!
You
Thank you,
chose.
Zeke Saint, for the sub.
You chose his team because his running back was better than Swift. Rashad Penny, who he chose, I chose Swift. So by all your logic, stick to it. You're going to sit Swift and you're going to start Penny. Thank you.
No, because I'm not starting anyone.
You chose this?
I think he earned it.
Boom.
Until he gets hurt.
Boom.
I would have always been in on Swift.
Boom.
When he went there.
All right, in your logic, why are you starting Baker?
Because I have Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts still.
I had Brock Purdy.
Your logic, you think Baker is Jesus?
No, I would think Love would be Jesus.
Not Baker. You think Baker's Jesus too.
So I'm starting my Jesus.
You think everyone's Jesus?
Eagles.
Austin?
Eagles. Fuck Ben.
Travis?
Eagles.
We
I think we're all agreeing on this.
Fuck you.
Still the same. You're about to say some dumb shit like, I'm going to take the Bucks.
Nothing dumb as you, Ben.
I'm 2-0. So I'm doing fine.
You've had the easiest schedule.
That means nothing.
2-0. It means nothing.
All right.
Easiest schedule. Shut up.
Final game of the week. Hey! Shut the fuck up. Final game of the week.
Yes, ma'am.
Rams going to Cincinnati. Cincinnati on a nasty skid.
I think it continues with if Burrow doesn't play, and Jamar Chase has been saying that he's been telling Burrow, please don't play.
I don't know. We'll see.
He said he wants his QB to be 100% before he steps on the field again.
I think we'll find out tomorrow. Burrow starts and out with their injury report tomorrow, so we'll get more insight. But if Burrow doesn't play, then the Bengals' ability to win goes drastically down.
I think if Burrow doesn't play, I think you flex Mixon, and then the way Chase has been playing, you actually, as crazy as it sounds, you consider benching Chase.
Yeah, and you consider starting T. Higgins. He's been getting a lot more volume.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I would agree with it.
And
yes,
Nakua is a fucking monster. What the fuck happened here?
Yeah, you're starting Puka, you're starting Stafford, and I think you're actually starting Tutu as well. Tutu's been getting about 10 targets a game as well. And
I'd consider it, yeah.
And I actually no Burrow. I think the Rams win.
Oh, easy.
The way it's been happening, even with Burrow, I think they're
especially since the Patriots picked up their emergency quarterback off practice squad, so they had to hurry up and go out and get another one that was with them in camp. I thought that was pretty funny.
Petty stuff.
It was so funny.
Bro, Bill Belichick is my best friend, bro. He's all in on getting the Steelers in the best position, bro. You see him being so toxic for the Steelers.
It was fucking Will Greer. Will Greer they picked up. I thought
from West Virginia University. Yes, sir.
When I read that, I was like, damn, that's so funny. Ultimate pettiness in the NFL right there.
Well, you remember what Bill Belichick did during the draft, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, trading with the Steelers so the Steelers could trade up. Yeah.
And then the first fucking drive, their left tackle lets out a sack that puts Aaron Rodgers out for the year.
Yeah.
Imagine if they just got Broderick Jones.
Crazy.
All right.
Crazy.
I think Rams win this game 30-20.
If Burrow doesn't, so. I think it's a little bit more of a margin than that. I'd probably go 30-10, especially if Burrow doesn't play.
I think even if Burrow plays, it's still 30-20. Rams.
I don't know if I trust Browning enough to do that.
Yeah, if Burrow plays, I give Cincinnati the win 30-24. If Burrow does not play, I give the win to the Rams 31-14.
Yeah, I think it's going to be at least a 14-point margin.
I think the Rams win regardless, just because of the way Cincinnati's been playing, even with Burrow.
Mm-hmm. I mean, but you also got to remember they started off 0-2 last year too, so maybe something similar this year. I don't.
That's why I've held on to Chase. I've had some decent offers that I've considered, but I've ultimately said, nah, he had a bad first 2 weeks.
After week 2, you bitch, you came to me and said, Chase and CeeDee Lamb? I said, no, you had your chance. You had your fucking chance.
Yeah, I did. I'll give you that. I won't deny that.
Who are you taking?
It's kind of
If Burrow plays the Bengals, if not, I'll take the Ravens or Rams.
Rams. Yeah.
One has wings,
All right.
one has horns.
Yeah, it doesn't matter either way.
Good job.
Do we want to do a chat roundup real quick?
Sure.
All
for it.
right. So chat. 7 over 8. Talking a lot. All right. So he says, "Oh shit, Austin, Mr. Passive just went off Lamau earlier." Damn, bro, you were having a hell of an episode yelling at Ben all night. Look at him. He's so sad now, bro. You fucking ruined Ben's night. He's gonna lose sleep. What the fuck was that about, dude?
Maybe I.
Bills. He's saying Bills over Washington. Yeah. We'll see. Washington won't score more than 20 points. I'm thinking 13 or 14. Bills up a large margin. Nah, we'll see.
I could see it though.
I could see it, but like, here's the thing.
I wouldn't be
think,
surprised.
I think Washington can clamp up low key. I'm just telling you. Sam Howell looking pretty solid.
I think their defense is good enough to force some turnovers and put pressure on Josh Allen, and that's so far this season the key to get him to throw those interceptions when you get pressure in his face on those dropbacks.
Vikings will crush the Panthers this week. Ooh, I don't know about
the
that.
Panthers.
Yeah, they don't, do they?
No, Vikings play the Chargers.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh.
Yeah, I was like, wait, what?
That's okay.
Yeah, I was like,
you
that
would be correct. 'Cause
that caught me off guard.
I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, that's okay though.
TJ is the most NFL ready out of the draft. TJ, or CJ.
Oh,
Yeah.
Stroud, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's only played because McFarland is hurt. Rams by 20. Even if Burrow plays, look what he's done this far. He's obviously banged up. Shit, wrong week, my bad. Stroud.
I mean, he makes a good point with even if Burrow plays. Look what he's done. I get that argument. I just think the Bengals could still lose, but I think we'll start to see Burrow bounce back for sure this week, even if they do lose, and if he does play, which is right now seems like it's a big if. But I think we start seeing the Bengals offense take shape and start making steps forward to being better. But like Burrow plays is the Bengals' best chance. Jake Browning is not going to get it done for him.
Oh, agreed.
Essentially, it's how I kind of think.
Closing statements, gentlemen.
I'm a dog.
Yeah, literally
Steelers
and
defense
figuratively.
is the best offense in the NFL, baby. Let's go.
That's not true. That's not true. All right, Travis, send us out.
All right, thank you for coming, everybody. Remember to like, subscribe, join up all the social media pages, the Sporting Lounge. Make sure to drop in and give Shane a Twitch follow at Derprimation. And remember to keep looking for us. We out.
Are we?
I mean, that's up to you.